What's up guys, Thomas here. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 tricks that's going to help level up your B-roll. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm not going to be teaching you the basics, how to get your exposure right or your focus on point. Once you already learn how to do that stuff, once you have that knowledge, this is the video to come to because I'm going to be showing you how to sprinkle a bit of flair into your B-roll sequences and get all your stuff looking next level so it kind of pops and stands out from the crowd. So with that said, let's go. All right, first shot we're going to do is one with Jordan here from the UK. He's one of my friends in Barcelona. And first up, we're going to be doing this from a beginner's mindset, as always. So what I like to do is show you almost what not to do, maybe what a beginner would do, maybe something you can relate to, and then show you how this trick can really transform this shot. So we've got this kind of path here, and what we're going to be doing is having Jordan just walk along the path, and I'll show you kind of what this shot would be as a beginner would do it. So if we want to go ahead. So we're kind of just following behind Jordan here. I mean, because we got the gimbal, it actually looks pretty nice, but it's kind of like a standard B-roll shot. I mean, it's just nice camera movement, moving forward, following a subject, keeping him roughly framed up, and that's it. So it's a little bit kind of run-of-the-mill, bit standard. So we'll go back, we're gonna do it again. Okay, so the B-roll trick here is a combination of things. This isn't just kind of one thing that you do. This is kind of a combination of small details that are gonna add up and make this really pop, okay? So number one, we're gonna be going from a super wide perspective. The widest I can go on this lens is 20, which is pretty wide. It's wide enough for what I want to do here. So that's number one. Number two is we're going to be going from a super low angle. So we're going to be going right on the floor, looking up at Jordan, which is going to give us this kind of childlike perspective, kind of looking around at everything, looking super big. Number three is we're going to keep the focus actually on the ground and not on Jordan. So we're going to kind of get this texture of the ground and kind of get him kind of blurred as he's walking through. It's going to make it look a little bit more dreamlike. And number four is we are going to be pushing forward, but quite slowly. We're not going to be kind of like following at his direct pace. We're going to be kind of going slowly to get this kind of inching along the floor look. So let's do that now. What I'm going to do is turn off the gimbal and then put it in low mode and then turning it on again. We're going to be panning the shot up until we get Jordan nice and in the frame. And so remember, we don't want to go up too high because we want the floor in the shot here, and we might actually kind of trail along the edge of this wall here as well. And we want to make sure that our focus, I'm just going to point towards the wall here to get the focus on point, is nice and near, maybe about 1 meter away, something like that, or maybe even like half a meter away. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing, as I said, is pushing forward gently in the shot. So Jordan, if you just want to walk like really slowly forward, kind of looking up and around. All right, let's have a review of that and see how it looks. Okay, and go. Nice one. Cool, that looked pretty good. All right, so the second shot we got here is going to be quite similar. It's going to be Jordan walking forward, me following him from behind, except this time we've kind of got a bit more like this kind of wilderness feel, like he's kind of going into the jungle. And again, the beginner shot is going to be something similar, except this time we're going to go into 35 and get a bit more of a kind of blur on the background, which is going to look pretty nice. So Jordan, if you just want to kind of walk forward, looking up and around, and we're just going to follow him nice and slowly there. And again, it's a pretty cool shot. It's like quite cinematic just from the camera movement and everything looking cool. Now we're going to change this up. What we're going to do is first thing we're going to do is put my camera on 60 or 50 frames per second. And what that's going to now allow me to do is get some nice slow-mo. Now, the cool thing about this is that this camera specifically, it actually crops in when you shoot in 60 frames per second or 50 when you're in 4K. So if I show you the shot now, it's quite a lot closer than the other one simply because we're now shooting in 60 and the camera's basically cropped in quite significantly. Now this can be annoying on some cameras. Some cameras it can kind of be a weakness because you want to get a nice full frame 4K 60 frames per second shot. But on others you can use this to your advantage. And what we're going to do now, we're going to keep in 35, except now we're quite a lot closer to Jordan here. So I'm actually even going to step back slightly. And the second thing we're going to do is not only we're going to get some nice kind of slow-mo on this, is we're also going to put the gimbal in vertigo mode. And this is going to allow us to get something called a Dutch angle. Now, use this with caution. It can kind of be like a gimmick sometimes when you're kind of just like every shot is kind of tilting around like this. It can kind of be used like overused. But when you use it kind of tastefully and quite subtly, it can be a really cool effect. So we're just going to focus up here on Jordan again. Make sure this is kind of on point. All right, so with this technique, we're going to start slightly tilted and we're going to use the kind of the tilting of the gimbal here to get us a nice, well-controlled Dutch angle kind of vertigo shot. So let's go, Jordan. Nice one. All right, that looks sick. So I've got a few different kind of motions there just to give me some options in post. Rather than just doing one, I kind of kept going and I did a few of these kind of back and forth. And then obviously in the edit, we'll see which one looks the best. All right, so shot number 3 is going to be another one here, but except Jordan's going to be walking towards the camera. This is going to be the end of our 3-shot sequence. So beginner's mindset might be to start recording here and simply get Jordan to walk towards the camera, maybe staying in the same focal length. And again, it looks pretty nice because everything's steady, but it's not ideal. It's kind of a little bit dull, a little bit boring. So how are we going to spice this one up? We're going to be using a technique called a vertigo zoom. Now don't get confused with the vertigo mode on the gimbal. This was just something that is coincidence. Vertigo mode is where you can tilt the camera on this axis. The vertigo zoom is something you do where you either move towards your subject quite quickly and then in post you're zooming out, or you're pulling away from your subject quite quickly and in post you're cropping in, you're scaling in. And what this does is it kind of bends and warps the image in a really interesting way. So this is kind of another way to give our shot a little bit of flair in this sequence. So let's go ahead and try this. We're going to have Jordan walking towards the camera, except I'm going to back away from this pretty quickly. And also we're going to be changing our focal length to 20 to maximize the effect of this vertigo zoom here as well. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, awesome. And because we shot that in 4K and also 60 frames per second, we can play with the cropping as much as we want, as long as we export this video in 1080p. And also we can use the 60, 50 frames per second look to then speed ramp this when we want and make it look nice and sharp. And 3, 2, 1, go. Nice one. I think this is good. As you may have picked up on, I actually implemented quite a few little techniques in the editing of this sequence. You may have picked up on that or not. Either way, I made a tutorial about the entire behind-the-scenes editing of this sequence, and I put that in the Life Capture Academy program. So if you want to check that out, that is in the description below. You can either go straight to the site and sign up there, or you can have access to a 30-40 minute free training that's going to walk you through a ton of really cool tips and techniques and share with you some of my journey and how I got started out becoming a filmmaker. Towards the end of that training, I'll walk you through exactly what the Life Capture Academy is and if it's right for you or not. So hit that link in the description and I'll see you over there. I've also put together a cheat sheet on how to talk to camera. That is also in the description below. You can go ahead and download that. It's got some really cool techniques on actually how to deliver good content on camera, how to be more comfortable, more confident when you are talking on camera as well. With that said, until next time guys, keep filming, bye-bye.